This week,
find out why some students who opted to dorm on campus now have a 15-mile commute.
another building on campus was named in honor of someone special. Learn more about the bricklayer who now coincides with the campus recreation center.
And what a Long Islander found washed up on the beach that made her 9/11 a little more sentimental.
All this and more on this week's Stony Brook News.
Good afternoon, and welcome to this week's edition of the Stony Brook News. I'm Sheena Samu.
And I'm Brenda Blanco. We begin today with heavy metal, not the music but a protest. Students demonstrated against increased fees at the bursar's office, but it wasn't picket signs in their hands. Instead, they came with bags full of coins. Polina Movchin reports.
Stacks of coins filled the bursar's windows on Wednesday. The Graduate Student Employees Union used pennies, nickels, dimes, and quarters to pay off hundreds of dollars in student fees.
By actually bringing cash and coins and not just paying electronically, hopefully people can just start thinking about how heavy literally that money is.
It's a weight that increases every year.
It goes up $20 every semester, so $40 annually, and if my math is correct, by the time you graduate, you'll be paying $160 more in fees for your last semester than you did in your first semester at Stony Brook.
10, 20, 30.
It's an additional sum of money that some students feel is a little too much.
Well, I think the fees are really unjust, and so far the administration has been kind of tone deaf when it comes to how difficult it is for students to pay these fees.
The fee increase goes towards services such as student health, recreation, transportation, and intercollegiate athletics. However, Rybook says the university should make this information more transparent.
I think that would be nice to kind of open a discussion of these are where the fees are going.
75, 95, 100. Now that was just $1. The lady at the bursar's window collected and counted over $2,000 in coins. Now that was a long day at work. For Stony Brook News, I'm Polina Movchin.
Can you imagine if every student paid their fees in coins?
I'd probably quit on the spot if I were the cashier that day.
Seriously.
Stony Brook could possibly call it quits on its sister campus in Manhattan. The university's Budgetary and Academic Situation Committee found that the campus has not been bringing in enough money. This year, a subcommittee will be taking a look at the status of its programs, the value of the location, and its ability to financially support itself.
This past week, Long Islanders and Seawolves alike remember what happened 13 years ago on September 11th. But for one Long Islander, feelings ran a little deeper. Kate Mustakas has the story.
Thank you so much.
Stony Brook students placed over 3,000 pinwheels in front of the Melville Library to honor the fallen victims of 9/11. The commemoration meant something different to each participant.
I have a very close friend, and he lost actually a couple family members during the attack, and I was very close to him when I was younger, so I usually think about him when I hear about it.
Even after all these years, 9/11 still brings back memories, especially to two families of New York City fallen firefighters that were brought together when a registered nurse from Stony Brook University found something extraordinary.
Marlene Quinn comes to the beach every morning to remember her brother who passed unexpectedly a couple months ago. And one day she found something that not only brought her peace, but a lifelong friend.
I picked it up, and the first thing I saw on the bracelet was the name Michael. And then I saw the O, and I'm thinking Michael O'Neill, and it ended up being Michael Otten, who was a firefighter that we lost in 9/11.
The bracelet had been missing for 10 years, and after Superstorm Sandy and Hurricane Irene alone, the bracelet should have been at the bottom of the ocean.
She could have been looking up, she could have been looking to the side, she could have checked her, checked her watch or whatever. But why? It was meant to be, at especially this time of year.
One thing they believe is for certain. This ironic find has brought the Ottens and the Quinns together for a reason.
I don't think it gets much clearer than this, that the two Michaels are here, they're with us, we can't see them, we can't communicate, but they let us know that they are here.
The two Michaels only grew up a block away from each other in East Islip. Marlene and Marion both say nothing is coincidence. For Stony Brook News, I'm Kate Mustakis.
9/11 was about the memory of over 3,000 people. Friday, however, was all about one person. It was a day of remembrance and dedication to a man who helped craft the buildings we see on campus today. And now, his memory is forever engraved in the campus recreation center. Brendan Jones was there for the ceremony.
The name synonymous with the new campus recreation center at Stony Brook University? Walter J. Hawrys. But who is Walter J. Hawrys? Well, he is
Definitely heroic.
Unconquerable.
Inspirational. Strong like a bull.
tough in many ways and positive thinking too. He battled pancreatic cancer bravely for more than 13 years until it took him earlier this year at the age of 88. Despite cancer and old age, Hawrys persevered.
Dad, he had a quiet heroism about him. And the same thing with the pancreatic cancer. It wasn't like he would announce he was going, he just had that fortitude.
It was only fitting to have the newest facility on campus named after the man who laid bricks on some of the oldest buildings at the university.
The chemistry building was one of the buildings that Mr. Hawrys worked on as well, so it's kind of interesting, to your point, the past and the future.
Now, Hawrys cared deeply about fitness and actually picked up race walking as he got older. Now, although race walking was new to him, competition wasn't.
If there was somebody on the climbing wall, now you can only do one person at a time on the climbing wall. He would try to compete with them.
Walter J. Hawrys was a competitor, brick mason, athlete, husband, and father. But now, most importantly, a sea wolf. For Stony Brook News, I'm Brendan Jones.
It's been a busy week in the sports world, and here to fill us in is our sports anchor, Kirill Kotlowski.
Thank you, guys. NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell finds himself in hot water after TMZ released an explicit video last week of Baltimore running back Ray Rice punching his then-fiancée Janae Palmer. We warned viewers the video may be hard to watch. Rice was originally suspended for 2 games following the incident, a punishment deemed too lenient by many, including Goodell, who admitted botching the process. After the footage surfaced, the suspension became an indefinite ban, which Rice is expected to appeal. The NFL has hired former FBI Director Robert Mueller to investigate the matter. Baltimore has since released Rice, and Nike has severed ties with the embattled superstar. We will keep you updated as the story unfolds. From the pros to college, Stony Brook earned their first win of the season Saturday, beating American International 20-3 in a rain-soaked Laval Stadium. The Seawolves ran all over the Yellow Jackets, bulldozing their way to 300 yards on the ground. Stacey Bedell broke open the scoring in the second quarter with a 72-yard touchdown run, the 5th longest in school history. Stony Brook travels to North Dakota next Saturday at 7 p.m. Houston Astros pitcher Nick Tropiano beat the Miami Marlins in his first career start on Thursday. The Long Island native and former Seawolves pitcher threw an impressive 5 innings, striking out 5 and only allowing 2 earned runs. We wish Nick the best of luck moving forward. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Kirill. The school is off to a frustrating start for some Stony Brook students. Their residence halls are almost 15 miles away from campus. Brandon Bennett has more.
Stony Brook senior Sequavia Jones was waitlisted prior to the start of the semester. Her only option was to accept housing elsewhere.
I just get up, all I do is sleep here basically and eat here.
To combat the shortage of beds on campus, Stony Brook is leasing dorms at Dowling College. Many making the daily commute complain about the 13.5-mile bus ride over busy roads and expressways each way.
I have a 9 a.m. class and I take a 7 a.m. bus. I get here at 7:30 and then I do nothing till 9 a.m. So I just don't do anything. It's kind of absurd.
During these 3 weeks, sometimes I'm like, oh my God, I wish I didn't come.
Bus driver Elias Tucson has been working the bus route for a week and has seen students display different feelings towards the buses.
Just letting the bus mind the business on the phone. But so far, I can see them angry either.
This year, Stony Brook has admitted the largest freshman class in the school's history. When asked why they accepted more students than they could house, Stony Brook admissions declined to answer. As for the rooms in Dowling's dorms, they could use a bit of a makeover.
I don't like the bricks. It reminds me of prison. I don't know. Yeah, and I like having a kitchen though.
This is not the first time Stony Brook has housed students at a different campus. In 1999, the university used Dowling's aviation school while a new dorm was under construction. But if the problem continues, should they put students through this again? For Stony Brook News, I'm Brandon Bennett.
You know, as crazy as commuting 50 miles sounds, I commute from Westchester every day.
The struggle is actually real for you.
It really is. You don't know how much I hate the LIE. Students have been back at the Brook now for 3 weeks, yet still no concert. The music event that has taken place in September for the past 2 years is now slated for either late October or early November. USG Vice President of Communications said that venue availability is to blame.
You know, one thing I really liked about Back to the Brook is not only the nice music, but we get to enjoy the early fall weather too.
I know what you mean. It's like you have the good music, good weather, and speaking of which, you know, our weather anchor, Chelsea Katz, has something in store for us. Chelsea?
Thanks, Brenda. Well, the weather we're going to see this week is definitely warmer than what you're going to have at Back to the Brook. This morning we started off with a low of 54, but we're climbing up to a high of 71. Now take a look at our 7-day forecast. What you're going to see is temperatures mostly in the 60s. That means that ladies, you get to break out your leggings, and guys, you can break out those fall jackets unless you're more into leggings. Meanwhile, on Sunday, we've got a high of 72. That's really going to be your last chance to really soak in that summer weather. So try to get to the beach if you can. Brenda?
Thank you, Chelsea. It may not be Paradise City, but the grass is certainly green at Stony Brook, according to Princeton Review's 2015 Green Honor Roll. It received a top score when it comes to green awareness and environmental sustainability. Buses burning on biodiesel, the Wolfie Bike Share program, and its various recycling initiatives, among other things, helping getting the praise. In a list of 861 schools, Stony Brook was one of only 24 to score so highly.
Stony Brook recently led a nationwide search for the perfect person to handle all issues regarding mission, governance, and budget for the College of Arts and Sciences. On August 11th, the college got Dr. Sasha Kopp, the former Associate Dean for the College of Natural Sciences at the University of Texas at Austin. Karima Charles has more on the story.
After 8 months, 130 applicants, and a 16-person search committee, Stony Brook has found its guy, Dr. Sasha Kopp, and he expects to change the traditional liberal arts education for the better.
For students, I'm thinking more in terms of what is it that will launch them into a successful lifetime? What kind of creative skills or thinking skills will make them relevant 10, 20, and 30, and 40 years from now?
His vision is what amazed Dr. Goldstein, the co-chair of the search committee.
We felt that this was a person who had the best interests of the university at heart.
But he wasn't the ideal candidate on paper.
Dr. Kopp, at the outset, might not have had what appeared to be the most experience qualifications, but when he came to the meeting in New York City, he just knocked us all out with his energy.
Originally, it was a thoughtful letter that Dr. Kopp sent in with his application that grabbed the committee's attention, and by the end, they knew that they found their dean.
I personally came out of that meeting with him with chills because I found what he had to say so inspirational.
On top of the new dean's agenda is to make sure that students learn to acquire skills well after college so that they can be victorious in the future. So far, the new dean has been putting in a lot of great work this past month, and at the first chair's meeting, he set up a good agenda of things he wants done.
You know, he's aware that he's got things to learn, but he's not waiting a year to learn them before he starts implementing the things that he thinks are important.
For Stony Brook News, I'm Karima Charles.
It's so great to see that Stony Brook has so many new faces this year.
Yeah, I know, it really adds to the sense of community. Well, that's all the time we have for now, but be sure to tune in again next Monday for Stony Brook News. I'm Brenda Blanco.
And I'm Sheena Semu. Have a great week, Stony Brook.